Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we got a surprise. Today we're going to be reviewing the Tesla Model X P100D. This thing is super fast. It is currently the fastest SUV on the planet. Been driving it around a while, and I gotta say, they ain't lying. So we're gonna take a tour of this car inside and out. I'm gonna give you the things that I like, the things that I don't like about this, and we're gonna see where it goes from there. Maybe I might end up getting one because I am in the market for a second car, preferably an SUV, so we'll see how this goes. So let's take a walk around this car. One of the first things you'll see is that it is super plain, but at the same time, it still has some really good lines to it. So if you're into hooking up or customizing your car, this is not a bad car to do it with. What you'll see here from the front is that your front windshield goes all the way back. And that's a great view when you're in the car. And it's a plus and a minus. I'm gonna tell you why when we get inside. But in terms of aesthetic wise, I like it. There's a few things that I think in the future they could probably do a little bit more for. With this car, you get 22s on it, front and back. Everything's going crazy. You see the cars opening up or whatever, it sees that I'm near it. And huge brake calipers or whatever, which do charge your car as you're braking. This car has wonderful stopping power. I mean, you guys know me from driving the 650, and that has great stopping power, but this car has amazing stopping power. You almost feel like you're stopping on a dime, just the way you feel like you are taking off in this car. This car does have the upgraded speed system. This is the fastest one that Tesla has to offer, and it'll hang with the best of them. It definitely will. It's a fun car to drive. I'm not the biggest SUV guy, but if I were to get an SUV, it would have to be something of this magnitude. So yeah, just take a look around. There's cameras everywhere on this car. There's sensors everywhere on this car. Some you see, some you don't. I don't know if you see right here on the door. You see the door just opened up for me. But we have camera. Senses the cars around you. We have another camera right here, senses everything around you. And these cameras work amazing, and they work in multiple ways. One of the ways they work is what you've just seen now is the sensor is so connected to the key that it feels you coming from 10 feet away. The car will start to unlock itself when you approach the car, and the doors will open up. So that's a really cool feature. One of the other things that these cameras do and these sensors do is also when your doors open, you'll not have to worry about bumping another car because these cameras pick up how close everything is to you, and the door opens only for the width that it can so that it does not hit another vehicle. When we get inside, I'm gonna show you what else these cameras do. They do a lot more than just that. And it's just gonna be some amazing stuff that they got going on here. So yeah, let's take a look inside and we'll see what we love and what we don't love about this car. So first, when we get in this car, everything is pretty much plain. You know, you have your huge screen, very huge screen. Things I do love and things I don't love about it. From the inside, you could see the way the interior just goes all the way back with that front windshield all the way back, you know, stopping right here. Also, you have extra roof lighting, natural light right here from the Gullwing doors, which we're going to take a look at as well. And you could see right here with this beautiful Alcantara, this feels great. I have it in my car. I love it. It keeps the car nice and heated, and it keeps the car nice and cool. It's great for insulation. One of the things I'm going to show you right now is how to go about closing the doors. There's a couple ways to close a front door on a Tesla. I don't know if you guys ever been in one before, ever checked any of them out, but it's actually pretty cool. Right now, you can see on the screen that my driver's side door is open. Now, I can close it by simply pressing the door, and the door will shut. You can also use that same feature to open the door, and the door will open. Now, if you want to close the door manually, because you know some people are old school, like the rest of the world that is not driving a Tesla, and we want to close the door by hand, you don't even have to pull it close yourself. You just give that a flick and close. If you want to open it, give it a flick and it opens. Now, if there was a car parked too close next to me, the door is only going to open wide enough so that I can get out, but it does not hit the other car. That's one of the things that those cameras that I showed you earlier before do. So let's get this door closed, and we're going to see what else this screen has to offer and what other specs this car comes with. Now, to basically turn on the car when you get in, all you really have to do is put your foot on the brake. Once you put on the foot on the brake, this car does start to come alive. You will see right here, you will have all of your gauges, how much charge you have left, the temperature, the time, what drive mode you're in. You also have your energy consumption, which would be right here. This is kind of important to pay attention to if you're the type of person that really pays attention to that stuff, or you might not be. When you go to the screen, you have a ton of options. One of the options, we'll start with pressing the car button at the bottom. And this will pretty much pull up anything that you want to do to your car that is customizable. So if you want to control your lighting, this is actually just for the quick control. It tells you what your display brightness is. You could leave it on auto, or you could set it yourself. Tells you what doors are open or closed, or if you want to open or close any of the doors. The great thing about this car is that, hey, if you're in the front, somebody gets out the car, you know, a passenger, they don't close the door all the way. The door has soft opening and soft close. It will do it itself, but also from this driver's seat or even the passenger seat, you can close any one of the doors and open any one of the doors from just sitting right here. So you don't have to worry about getting out and walking around to the car to close that passenger door that a person may not be able to reach or just walked away and forgot to close. So for people that really love the way you can drive a car in sport mode, this car does have it all. One of the things you can toy with on this car is the suspension, which we're going to press right here. It's still in car mode. Right now it's on standard, and that's because the car is parked. I'm not moving anywhere, anything like that. You can raise it very high, and if you were in the car with me, you can feel and see the car raising. You can also raise it very low. Right now we're still raising. You will see this thing spinning, and once it's done, you are raised up to your maximum height, which is an extra 4 inches of height. Lowering it will take you down about 2 inches of height, and you will feel the difference in terms of the drive. And when I mean feel the difference in terms of the drive, I don't mean the car is going to ride any harder or softer than what it rides. It actually is still a very comfortable ride at very low, but you will feel the difference in terms of how high and how low to the ground you are. You also, especially if you're sitting still, physically feel the car lowering, and you can also hear it if it's quiet enough. If it's quiet enough. With the rest of these features, you can adjust your suspension pretty much as you see fit. If you want it lowered all the time, never, or if you just want it on the highway. If you want your adaptive suspension dampening, which means the car will do it for you, and it'll pick up geographically where you are by satellites, and it will know how to raise and lower the car. Now, if you want to adjust other things, if you're into the sportier driving, or even if you're not into the sportier driving, you can go to driving mode selecting here. This will bring you to the fun stuff. The fun stuff that you see people doing all over YouTube and just going nuts with this car. This car does come with Ludicrous Plus mode because, as I have told you earlier in the video, this is the fastest version. This is the P100D. You have chill and sport mode, and you have ludicrous mode. In terms of your steering mode, you have comfort, standard, and sport. I personally prefer sport, and I prefer to drive in ludicrous just because it's just how I'm used to driving my vehicles. You can set how do you want your regenerative braking. Now, those brakes that I did show you earlier outside the car, that's what they are for. That's part of the reason why they are so big, and your car will charge as you are braking. Now, one of the things you can also set up in this car is also the vehicle mode. For the vehicle mode, you can set up how you want the car to kind of respond to you and respond to the key the way you have it in your pocket, and also just respond how the car reacts when you get in. So there's not much to the screen, but it's just a bunch of toggles, just the way I showed you when I walked closer to the car and the doors opened for me. You know, you can turn that on, turn that off. Same thing when you're walking away from the door, turn it on, turn it off. Yeah, the customization features are endless. Now, when it comes to Autopilot, it's definitely something that you have to get used to, because I used it last night on the ride home, and especially at first, I was a little nervous because I'm used to just driving my own car and I'm not used to being in something so autonomous. You might get a little frazzled when you're driving by a bigger vehicle, such as, you know, the trucks that you see or whatever, but this car is very good in picking up the trucks. You can set your speed limit. You can even make it a game by driving Autopilot, which I will get into later, and just kind of have fun with it. The car does, when you do not have your hand on the steering wheel for a certain amount of time, the car will start flashing a white light on the top of your instrumentation panel to let you know to put your hand back on, you know, have your hand touching the steering wheel. That doesn't mean control it from there, but it will let you know. By using the toggles right here, you can set how many car lengths apart that you want to be. And it goes anywhere from 1 car length to 4 car lengths, I guess, depending on how much you trust or feel comfortable with the autonomy of the car. Now, I'm sitting in a parking lot right now and I'm not on a highway, but what I can tell you is that when you are on a highway, all the lanes for the highway will pop up right here, and it will show you where your car is within the lane. It will also show you other cars that you are approaching or passing. It will show you in the form of a car, and if it's a truck, it will show you a truck approaching or passing. So it kind of takes the guesswork out of trying to figure out what car is by your side if you want to move into the next lane, how much space you have, and how quick that car is also moving. Now, the navigation feature in this car is pretty much self-explanatory. If you've ever used Google, which we've all been using for forever, this car uses just that. So you get in, it's very seamless. It's just like how you may use it on your phone, how you may have used it on your TomTom or your Magellan or any other navigation system. Pretty self-explanatory. Probably one of the easier navigation systems to work. And as you see here, you can set up how you would like to plan your trip, whether you want to avoid ferries, tolls, or use HOV lanes, and how you want to reroute your route, which is actually something that you don't see in other cars. depending on how do you want to reroute your route, if it saves you a certain amount of time. You know, I don't want my car rerouting me if it's only going to save me 1 minute. But if you would shave 10 minutes off of my time, I would not mind my car rerouting me. Now, that right here is a great feature that I have yet to see in any other vehicle. Next, we're going to go to the software of the car. This is where you would do your updates whenever they have updates. I'm not sure how often they do have updates with Teslas, but this is where you would go to do it. Here's your preference, and it'll show you which version of the update your car has and if your car is currently up to date. Now from here, we're actually going to go down and switch to the next screen, which is music. You see right now my phone is connected. It will pick up my playlist, but if I'm not using a playlist that I have saved on my Apple and I have saved on another device, you can also play that. You have some fun in this car while you're driving for you and your passengers, and that's where you kind of want to go down here. I'm going to skip around a little bit because I know everybody knows what streaming in Spotify is, but this karaoke one is actually really fun. Me and my sister played around with it last night and she had a good time. You can kind of pick this genre of music that you want to use or the time period and, you know, just have fun with that. So let's say I like R&B and hip hop. I will go to that and I will pick a song. So I will pick one of my favorite rappers, Delight. And once it starts playing, you're good to go. Now, it's not the actual artist, but it's a very good person doing karaoke. And the words will pop up on the screen for your passengers and the driver as well. As long as you are sitting still, you should only really pay attention to the screen. But you will start to see the words pop up and you can tune the volume up or down however you like and just have fun with it. And what you'll see is the words popping up on the song, on the screen. Sing along if you like, or not, or just laugh at your passengers. If you're the driver and you know the words, have fun. But I tell you, use caution when you are using this while you're driving and try not to take your eyes off the road, even if you are in autonomous mode, just for extra caution. But let's give this a stop so we can go on to the other screens. I don't want to party you guys out too much. So as we look at the big navigation system here, which I really wanted to show you guys, it's actually really cool. You can set it how you want it to point. You can zoom in and zoom out. I don't know how many people have iPads or how they use them, but you can zoom in, zoom out, you can turn it around. I actually just turned on the heated seats and my butt is starting to burn. So from this screen and pretty much any screen, you can go down to the bottom and hit this up button. This will bring you to a few other things. This will bring you to contacts, recent calls, dialer, whatever. Press it again, or you can press the X, which will bring you back to the screen. You can pull up your calendar. You can pull up your camera on this car. Now, one thing I got to say about this camera is that this camera is high definition, which is great because the clarity is amazing. However, I do wish that at nighttime the camera was a little brighter in terms of the way you are backing up. I feel like the brightness would definitely let you know how close you are to something. Now, granted, I know you have all the sensors in the world on this car, but you still kind of want to see what you're backing up into. You know, a sensor might not pick up, let's say, a glass bottle that's maybe there that you don't want to run over, Yes, it will pick up if there's a gate or a wall or a fence back there or another car, but I just wish it was kind of slightly brighter. That's just my preference, but hey. Now, when we go back to this button, we're going to go over to the energy button. And this is basically showing you everything that's up here, just on a bigger screen, a little bit more customizable and in more detail. What you will get to see is your average fuel consumption, your projected range for the current style of driving that you have right now. Right now, I do have the car in ludicrous mode, so I'm not getting the full amount of driving that I should be getting from this car. If I put it in chill mode, I should be getting about 478 miles to the range. But right now, because I am in ludicrous mode, and the things that I have turned on this car, I would only get about 167 miles to the tank. But 478 is a great amount. Now we're going to go back down here again and pull up the next screen, which is one of the most important screens, charging. This will tell you exactly how much you have. You also have a screen here, which would tell you the same thing, but this screen is going to tell you in greater detail. You can use your charge port and open it here by pressing this button, or when you pull out the wire to charge the car, you press a button on the wire, it syncs with your car, and it also opens up the charge port. When you plug that charge port back up after you're done charging your car, it will close your charge port as well. So this is not necessarily a button that you fully have to worry about unless you just prefer to use it yourself. This is the full battery of your car, and it does go down depending on where your battery range is currently. Now we're going to go to one of the other fun parts of the car. This is where we go to the entertainment section. And this comes in handy, especially when you're charging your car in an area that is maybe not a mall or something where you really have nowhere to get out and go to spend some time. Or if you're charging your car at one of the charging stations along the highway and you just want to sit in the car and go, or even if you're just waiting for somebody, or just say you want to go out in your car and play some games. Last night, me and my sister got into a pretty heated competition on beach buggy racing, which she did beat me 3 times in a row, and I was kind of embarrassed. So what you do is simply just pick whatever game you want to play. You have plenty of games to choose from. Just scroll up, scroll down, and click play game. You click OK. Now, one of the cool things about these games is that you have multiple ways of playing the game. For example, as this loads, you can use the steering wheel, or you can use the buttons that would pop up at the bottom to steer your car. You can also use the brake if you need braking. Now, this is all while you are not driving and you are just sitting. So, for example, we're just going to click one player here, and you have options here. Oh, look, we unlocked another player last night. We'll choose this cowboy right here. Now, once we choose him, go to continue, and this will make the car in the game drive faster or slower. So if you want to do chill mode, performance mode, or ludicrous mode. Ironically, they don't have a ludicrous plus, which would be really, really fast. So chill mode, let's just say that by example. We start playing. I don't know if anybody's ever played Mario Kart, but it's kind of similar to that. It's just Tesla's version of Mario Kart. You have the whole screen to yourself if you have 2 players. Player 1 and player 2 would be top and bottom. And you can steer the car by using the steering wheel, which, as you see, I'm not doing a very good job. Or you can still steer the car by using the buttons as well. Pick something up, and don't play like I play. That's all I suggest. But has fun little things you could do. If other people around me, that would have got somebody. So let's exit that. I just want you guys to know, since you've seen how bad at driving on this game that I am, that I did whoop my sister's butt in a game of chess, which you can also sit and play. And when you play it, the whole screen pops up. So you have it all to yourself. It has the counters. You can do, and, you know, control how you want to control it. If you have a passenger and the passenger wants to play and you're not just playing against the computer, you just click passenger, new game, and when you make your first move, it becomes the passenger's turn after that, and they now make their first move. Now, that's pretty much all for the arcade type of games that you want to play. What you also have in this car is theater mode. And this pulls up your streaming services. So if you have Netflix, YouTube, you can watch Tesla's tutorials, or Hulu, you can just click it in. It'll ask you for, you know, your regular account information, you know, and there you go, everything, and you could watch it. However, this will not play if the car is driving or in drive mode. It will only play when your car is not moving. So keep that in mind. And just so that your passengers know, you know, you'll still hear the sound, but you will not get a video. Now to exit this, you just press anywhere on the screen and you'll see the X come up, and there you go. So next we're actually going to go to Toy Box, which is also one of my favorites. Now, Toy Box, it'll show you how many miles of range you currently have, your VIN number on your vehicle, which performance model you have. We have the performance model with ludicrous mode, and that's that. You can rename your Tesla. So let's say I want to rename it Brooklynboy. We click save, and there we go. Now it's Brooklynboy's Tesla. Now, once you've done with that and you've toyed with that and your Tesla is renamed, you can swipe down from this screen and pull up a bunch of fun options. So once we're on this screen, you can pull up a few other things. Let's start with some of the romantic things. Let's just go there and see what happens. You can pull up the fireplace. Now, this is pretty amazing because at nighttime, this is really bright and really big, and you hear the sound of the car, of the firecrackers actually. And not only that, but you also get the heat that comes from the fire, because now my car is now pumping heat into the car as if I am really feeling the fireplace. And after that, you do get some music to set the mood. So if you're sitting in your garage or you're not driving anywhere for the night, bring a glass of wine, red or white, whatever your favorite is, and this sets the mood for you. Other things you have on this car, which the kids will enjoy, is the whoopee cushion, which I had so much fun playing with last night and just embarrassing my sister while she was on the phone with her friends. So from here, you can actually choose where you want the whoopee cushion, and it will give a farting sound in that part of the car. And the longer you hold it, it'll do more stuff. So it's just something you can have fun with. You can use it with your turn signal. You can use it by messing with people on the steering wheel control if you want to. It's just something to have fun with and gives everybody a laugh. Now playing with Toy Box, you have this thing called Santa Claus mode, and you can enable it or close it and just have fun with it. You also can draw if you like. You know, if you're bored, if you're that much into drawing. Let's erase what we did. Or whatever. And just have fun with it. This is a car that you won't get that bored in if you're sitting still, waiting for somebody, or you just want to go in the car and play. What you also have is what I showed you last night with making the car dance. Now, what you'll get from that is, I don't want to press it because I don't want to start it up, but you press this button here, and when you close and lock your doors, the car, got to give it a few seconds, you may think it's doing nothing, but the car will start its own dance. Not even done. When I say it's going to dance, motherfucker, it's going to dance. Now, one of the other cool features this car has, when I was telling you earlier about being in autonomous mode, is that you can press this button right here. And if you press that, I don't know why I went to that screen. Let's exit. When you press this, I don't know if it's going to show you right now. No, it's not. But when you press that and you're in autonomous mode, your screen will actually turn into a rainbow and you will look like you are driving on a rainbow, which is pretty cool. I haven't figured what all of these will do, but for example, look, our screen has made it look like we are on Mars and we are the rover. I don't know how many people know about the rover, but we are currently on Mars, and the screen down the bottom lets you know that you're on Mars. So now we're back to one of the main screens where you can control everything. And those screens open up a couple of things. You can still, from here, open up your trunk or your front trunk, which is commonly referred to as the frunk. So we're going to open up the frunk and the trunk just so that we can get an idea of how much space this car gives you when you are trying to maximize space. So we're going to press this here. Now that opened up the front trunk, and we're going to press this here, and that opened up the trunk, and you can see everything being open there. Now you see you have a lot of room back here. A ton of room, actually. There is a model with a third row of seating, and they can get back here. Even without that model, you can still have a ton of room. Those seats do go down in that model as well, and you have just as much room as you have here. If you feel like you've ran out of room, which with a trunk that big, I don't feel like you would, you have the frunk or the front trunk. And this also has a ton of room. This is also where you're going to add your fluids to the car, which would only be one fluid, and that's windshield wiper fluid. So you don't got to worry about adding anything else. But you see how much room you have. It's a ton. You'll pretty much never run out of storage space for this car. So now we're back in the car, and we're just going to close all doors, which would consist of the trunk, the frunk, and my door, which also just closed. This way you don't have to press a bunch of buttons at one time. One of the features that's also really cool are the Gullwing doors on this car, which everybody is amazed when they see those Gullwing doors go up. So from the inside view, I'm just going to give you a view of what it looks like from the inside. So what we're actually going to do here is what I showed you before by pressing the passenger front button, and you will see the doors open. And you see the doors go up. As Tall Guy loves to say, the doors do go up. Not only that, but they also come down. And lock for you as well. Now, if you're a passenger in the car, in the back seat, and you want to open your own doors and just hop out, you simply have two buttons you could press right here, open and close. And it will do your door. If you press it twice, it'll do both doors. So one thing we're going to do real quick is talk about the styling of this car. As you can see, as most people know who's ever been in a Tesla or know anything about them, there's no bar that goes down the middle, so you have the use of all three seats in the back. But forget about that. Look at these beautiful ivory and black seats. This is just a gorgeous switch up. The seats are very sporty, almost like what you would get in other sports cars, and they really, really do hug you when you are pulling off in this car. One thing I do like about the seats as opposed to other sports cars is that these seats are very plush. They might not look it, and you feel it more so when you sit on them, but they are very, very plush. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of headroom. I am 6'1", and as long as the person is not sitting like crazy like I am, you fit very comfortably. And like I said, there's a ton of headroom in this. So you don't have to worry about banging your head on anything or even the Gullwing doors. Now that I've showed you all the cool features of this car, I want to tell you about a couple things of this car that I don't particularly love, that I feel maybe they can improve on and just do better. One of the things of this car, which kind of sucks, but I don't love the feeling of it, is this glass roof panel. The reason why I say that is because in my car, when it's really cold out, these big glass roofs are not great for insulation. And that means that when it's cold outside, you have to turn the heat up more. Well, the thing with this car is turning the heat up more also means using more battery. So you're going to get less battery, and your charge is not going to go as long as it normally would in warmer weather. And that kind of sucks, because now you have to turn the heat up more. You have to turn the heated seats up more, and it's just going to eat through your battery, as it kind of did to me last night when the temperature did drop a little. Now, I know because of the Gullwing doors, they don't really have an option of putting a retractable visor on top, which would be great because it would save you on heat and energy and just a whole bunch of things. You can close it and your car would stay warm. Like I said, this Alcantara that you see around this car keeps your car very heated and very cooled, so you don't have to turn the temperature up all the way. And even when you do, you will get hot very fast in pretty much any car that has Alcantara. It's great for insulation. This car does have the Alcantara features. However, for the fact that it is missing on the roof and not part of the roof liner, you do have a situation where you're just not being insulated properly up here. Another issue which I have with this car, which is not the worst of issues to have, but it's an issue that I have, is that this screen does a lot for your car. Now, when you're driving, you don't necessarily have time, unless you're in stop and go traffic, to do all these changes to your screen. Now, if you have a passenger, you might be able to tell them, and they could do it for you, assuming that they know where to go. But generally, you're going to have to guide them, which is going to make you continuously take your eyes off the road. Now, if you're doing highway driving, sure, you could put it in autonomous mode for the time that you're doing it. I'm not a big autonomous fan, which I guess for me, that is something I would have to get used to. But if I'm driving, my first thought is to naturally reach for something that I want to change by reaching for the screen, not putting it in autonomous and now reaching for the screen. But that's just my personal preference. Other drivers may like the fact that this does so much and you could just throw the car in autonomous mode and do whatever it is you want to do. And that's fine too. I'm just saying how I prefer. It's one of the things I don't like. Back to the roof, which, like I said, does not have any type of insulation, making this car cold. They give you this visor, which magnetizes to the roof, if you can see the magnets up here, and it gets held in by these visors here. These visors also come down a little lower, just in case you need a little bit more protection from the sun. That is great if you are trying to keep the sun out of your eyes. However, that is not the best, clearly, like I said, for warming. And I wish they would at least give another option for keeping this car warm. Maybe they can provide visors that magnetize to the top that are maybe made out of the same material as this. That would be another option that I hope Tesla would provide to people in the near future, or maybe an aftermarket part that you can buy. The view is great, don't get me wrong. It is not the sunniest of days out here in New Jersey. As a matter of fact, it's about to start raining pretty hard pretty soon. But the view is great, and you will always love the view. Sometimes you just want to be a little bit more practical, though, and just be warmer and not have to worry about turning the heat all the way up in your car where you need to be. Currently, right now, I actually have the heat on 75, and my car gets this warm on 67, 68, and that's perfectly fine with me. And when I put the Alcantara visor to close, it stays that temperature with no problem. So now that I've gone through everything with the car for you, we're going to take a little drive. It's getting a little windy. It's starting to drizzle a little bit. The rain is going to come. But I just want to give you a quick drive, and we will do a bit of a quicker, better drive when we get on the highway. But right now, I just want to show you the simple things. So as you can see, as I've showed you here before, the car says off, whatever. If you just put your foot on the brake, now the car is now fully activated. You're going to hear a few chimes letting you know, for one, the car is on, and for two, put your seatbelt on. So that'll be the first thing we'll do, because if you don't put your seatbelt on and there's other people in the car, you will get a big notification on your car right here, showing exactly who in the car and where they're sitting, and that they don't have their seatbelt on. Now, to put the car in park, all you have to do when you're done parking is press this knob right here. You press it, your car will go into park. To put the car in drive, all you have to do, foot on the brake as usual, and now you're in drive. Reverse, up, and there goes the screen. It'll start telling you how close you are to everything. Neutral, you give it a light tap, and you're in neutral, and of course, back to drive mode. And from that point on, you just pull off. So we're just going to stop right here for now. And later I will show you how this car reacts to highway driving and highway speeds. The pickup that it has, which is a lot. This is a car that you will feel like you are in a roller coaster when you put your foot down, and it will throw you back. It might make you even feel lightheaded. They should probably give you a warning about that. But it's fun to mess with your passengers when they don't know how quick this car can actually be, or if they've just never been in a car like a Tesla that had automatic torque and this much horsepower. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're back, and we're in this crappy ass weather. Right now, I have the car set in autopilot, you know, just to mess with it, test it out. Weather's really bad. Traffic is moving super slow. So I just wanted to give you guys a feel on what it's like to be in autopilot in this thing. So it's pretty standard. It's actually really cool. So just to give you guys like a brief overview of how it is when you're in autopilot mode. So right now, when you look at the screen, you see the blue steering wheel to your right, the max speed that you have set to your left. And when that blue steering wheel is on, that means you're in autopilot mode. The car's doing the steering for you. And you just sit back, relax, and drive. You can take your foot off the brake, take your foot off the gas, whatever. Some people brake a lot. That's on them. But one thing you have to do is still keep a hand on the steering wheel, or else you will get lit up. So when I mean lit up, I'll show you. I'm gonna remove my hand from the steering wheel, and after maybe about 30 seconds or so, it'll start lighting up, just to let you know, hey, put your hand back on the steering wheel. We wanna know that you're here. So one of the other really cool features of the car, while we wait for that, is that you can set the car to navigate on the GPS that you're using. So if you're moving and you know you're following your GPS, you have it on navigate on autopilot, and it'll follow the way that is set on your GPS, which is brought to you proudly by Google. Who else? And that's that. I mean, it's pretty simple. You can set your car lane by twisting. There's a lower arm here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but you can, down here, you can set your car length. How many cars apart do you want to stay apart from the other person? And just keep driving. So we're gonna, you know, just do that. But there's one thing I did want to point out to you guys that my sister actually noticed while we were in this car. And what she noticed is that when you reach up here, there are no mirrors. So all you ladies who like to check yourselves in the mirror, yeah, I don't know what y'all are gonna do. I didn't notice it. It took my sister for me to notice it. That was one of the first things she noticed when she got in the car. She said, hey, where's the mirrors? They don't have one on the passenger side either. So yeah, I find that kind of strange. Something else I guess they could add in, just, you know, one less complaint for the wife, for the girlfriend, or just for the female driving the car. But I think this is going to be the end of the video. I was very pleased with this ride. This is definitely a car I would buy. The little quirks and things that I didn't like about it, yeah, I would buy it still. So one other thing I wanted to show you before we go is that you see right here, you can see all the cars to your left and your right, and the lane that you are currently driving in. The autopilot lane that you're currently driving in is highlighted in blue, and you know, you don't top out at the speed that you're currently going. I think we've pretty much covered everything in this car. This white light that pops up has not popped up, I noticed. I don't know why, but usually it does. But yeah, that's about it. So we'll see if we could do some reviews of some other cars and see how that goes. And, you know, let's see what else we could bring. I mean, but for now, I have much more content coming for my BMW 650 M Sport. Some downpipes and tunes, and, you know, just some fun stuff. Last night, I recorded some people doing some drifting in the parking lot over by me. I'm gonna send that your way as well. You know, just a little tidbit added extra in the video, and you guys could check that out. Pretty sure you'll like it. Cops came and broke it up, so it kind of sucks. But hey, it is what it is. But again, enjoy yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, and If you like this car, visit your closest Tesla dealership and go test it. Peace. Also, if you guys like this video and want to see more content like this, or just anything that I'm doing in general, cars related, music related, whatever, you know what? Like, subscribe, hit the notification buttons, and get everything first as soon as I drop it. All right?